Milo tightened his grip on the controls of his small spacecraft as it descended through the thin lunar atmosphere. He had never been this far from Earth before, and the sight of the gray, cratered surface beneath him filled him with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The moon had always been a place of mystery, but today it was personal. Today, he was going to claim the inheritance left by his alien granddad, a place whispered about in human and alien settlements alike. The base his granddad had built had a reputation. Some called it haunted. Others said no human could survive there for more than a week. Milo, however, was determined to prove them wrong. The base appeared as he rounded the rim of a wide crater. It was enormous, built into the side of the mountain, its silver walls glinting faintly under the dim sunlight. Strange symbols, glowing, faintly with an unearthly light, decorated the structure. Milo had never seen writing like that before. He had heard stories from his parents and old friends. The base was full of secrets, full of alien machines and technology far beyond human understanding. Most importantly, it was his now, and he would make it work. He guided his craft to the landing platform, nerves buzzing. The platform was wide and empty, but the hum of machinery under the surface suggested life, or at least activity, inside. As he touched down, the craft made a soft hiss of pressurized air, and the landing legs settled into the lunar dust. Milo exhaled slowly. The real challenge was about to begin. He climbed out of the craft, his boots crunching on the gray dust. The airlock hissed behind him as he entered the base, and immediately, a wave of cold metal and silence met him. It smelled faintly of ozone, a sharp metallic scent that reminded him of laboratories on Earth. The walls were high, and the corridors stretched into darkness, lit only by the faint glow of alien symbols. Milo switched on his portable lamp, and the beam of light bounced off the walls, revealing strange machines and panels covered in symbols he could not read. "This is it," Milo said softly to himself. "Granddad's base." He moved cautiously through the corridors, noting the eerie silence. There were no signs of recent human activity, yet the base felt alive. Lights flickered overhead, sometimes brightening as if sensing him, other times dimming as though shy. He paused in front of a panel and touched it lightly. The screen sprang to life, displaying a language he did not understand, yet some of the symbols seemed to shimmer as if inviting him to explore further. Milo stepped back in surprise, unsure if he should continue. Then, as he moved deeper, the base itself seemed to respond. A soft hum began, rising and falling like the pulse of a living being. Milo froze. He remembered the warnings he had received on his journey here. The base was haunted, cursed, dangerous. He had laughed at them before, thinking they were just tales told to scare children and thrill-seekers. But now, alone in the silent corridors, he felt a twinge of fear. The shadows seemed to move just out of the corner of his eye. Was it his imagination? Or something else? Determined, Milo pressed on. He needed to set up basic supplies first. He found the storage room quickly, shelves stacked with containers labeled in the alien language. Using his translator device, he discovered food rations, water supplies, and a small medical kit. He set up a temporary sleeping area in a nearby chamber, spreading a thin mat on the cold floor. Even as he worked, the base seemed to watch him, the hum growing louder and more rhythmic. Milo shook his head, trying to calm his nerves. Suddenly, the lights flickered more violently and a whisper filled the corridor. It was faint at first, almost like wind passing through the walls, but then it became clearer. Milo froze. The voice was soft but unmistakable, almost as if someone were speaking directly into his mind. "Welcome, Milo," it said. "You are expected." Milo's heart raced. He looked around, shining his light into every corner, but the corridors were empty. "Granddad?" he asked aloud, though his voice felt small against the vast emptiness. There was no answer, only the humming that now seemed to pulse in time with his heartbeat. He forced himself to keep moving. The control room was next, a wide space filled with consoles, buttons, and screens. Milo ran his fingers over the controls, and to his surprise, some of them responded to his touch. Lights blinked on, machines whirred to life, and a holographic map of the moon appeared in the center of the room. Milo gasped. The base was fully functional, almost as if it had been waiting for him. Hours passed as Milo explored, discovering rooms filled with alien technology, strange experiments, and artifacts he could not begin to understand. Yet with every step, he felt less fear and more wonder. His granddad had built something incredible, something that humans alone could never have imagined. Milo felt proud to be part of this legacy. As the lunar night settled outside, casting long shadows through the base's large windows, Milo finally allowed himself to sit down. He looked around at the glowing symbols, the humming machines, and the faint outlines of corridors stretching endlessly. The base was alive, mysterious, and perhaps even friendly in its own strange way. Then, as if to punctuate the moment, the voice returned, clearer this time. "Protect what is ours, Milo. Learn. Survive. You are ready." Milo smiled, a mix of relief and determination washing over him. He had arrived, yes, but the journey had only just begun. The rumors of hauntings, the warnings of danger, they were real in some way, but now he understood that this base was not trying to harm him. It was testing him, teaching him, preparing him for what lay ahead. He looked out over the moon's barren surface, the stars shining cold and bright above. Alone, yet not truly alone, Milo felt a new sense of purpose. He was here to stay, to learn, and to continue his granddad's work. No one else had lasted a week in this base, but Milo knew he could last much longer. He had curiosity, courage, and the guidance of the mysterious presence that filled the corridors. As he lay down to rest, the base's hum settled into a calm rhythm. Milo closed his eyes, ready to face whatever came next. The moon base was haunted, yes, but now he saw that it was also alive, waiting for someone worthy to inherit its secrets. Milo was determined to be that person. The next morning, Milo awoke to the soft hum of the base. Sunlight streamed through the tall alien windows, casting long beams across the metallic floor. The moon outside was silent and empty, but inside, the base thrummed with energy. Milo stretched and rubbed his eyes, feeling more confident than he had the night before. The voice he had heard, the one that spoke as if it were alive, had not returned yet, but he knew it would. For now, he needed to explore deeper. Milo started in the corridors he had only glanced at the day before. The walls were lined with panels covered in alien symbols, some glowing faintly as he passed. He touched one cautiously, and a holographic projection flickered to life. It showed a figure moving gracefully through the base, adjusting machines and talking to unseen companions. Milo blinked. The figure looked like his granddad. He leaned closer to the projection, realizing it was a recording, but somehow it felt more real than a simple video. The hologram spoke in an alien language, but Milo's translator picked up a few key words: experiment, protect, and knowledge. He understood that his granddad had been working on important projects here, things worth guarding. As Milo walked through the hall, more holograms appeared, each showing a different part of the base, each revealing a little of the alien work that had gone on for years. Machines that harvested energy from lunar minerals, rooms that grew plants under artificial sunlight, and devices that seemed to bend light and sound in ways Milo could barely imagine. Milo's curiosity overcame his caution. He entered a large chamber at the end of a corridor. The floor was covered with strange panels that lit up beneath his feet, and walls filled with glowing screens displayed symbols he did not recognize. In the center of the room sat a small metallic orb, hovering above a pedestal. It pulsed with Soft light, almost like it was breathing. Milo stepped closer, mesmerized. As he extended a hand, the orb's light flared, and he felt a sudden warmth, almost as if it were welcoming him. He stepped back, heart racing. "What are you?" he whispered. The orb pulsed again, and a soft, melodic hum filled the room. It was not a voice, yet Milo felt a strange understanding. He reached out again, and this time, the orb's light expanded, projecting images around him. He saw his granddad moving among machines, touching the same orb, and watching over experiments that seemed both alive and intelligent. Milo realized the orb was not just a machine. It was a kind of teacher, a guide left behind for him. As he explored, Milo noticed more signs of strange activity. Objects shifted slightly when he turned away. Shadows moved against the walls without explanation, and the faint whispers returned, almost like a gentle breeze passing through the corridors. But this time, Milo did not feel fear. Instead, he felt watched in a protective way, as if the base itself was alive and guiding him. He began to understand that the hauntings were not meant to harm. They were guardians, keeping him safe while he learned. Milo spent hours moving from room to room, discovering alien libraries filled with data crystals. He learned that his granddad had been researching ways to combine human and alien technology. Some devices were simple, designed to make life on the moon easier. Others were complex, capable of controlling energy flows and generating protective shields. Milo tried to interact with some of the controls. At first, nothing happened. Then, as he concentrated, panels began to respond. Lights blinked, machines, whirred, and he felt a thrill of accomplishment. The base was teaching him, slowly, step by step. In one small chamber, Milo found holograms of alien creatures, strange but not frightening. They seemed curious, observing his granddad, and now observing him. Milo held out his hand, and to his surprise, one creature approached the edge of the projection and hovered there. Milo laughed quietly. He had expected loneliness, danger, or fear, but instead he felt companionship from echoes of the past. The base was full of life, just not the kind he had known on Earth. Evening came, and Milo returned to the control room to review what he had learned. He discovered that the base had automated systems that maintained itself: air, water, energy, and even food for longer stays. The orb pulsed gently in the corner, almost like it was approving of his progress. Milo realized he could survive here longer than a week. He could thrive. The base was not just haunted. It was alive with intelligence, designed to help someone worthy carry on his granddad's work. Then the whispers grew stronger. Milo froze, listening. A voice, clear this time, spoke his name. "Milo, you are learning. You are ready for more." Milo's heart raced. The voice was not frightening. It was calm, encouraging, almost proud. He realized that the base was not haunted by ghosts to scare him, but by memories, guidance, and protective energy that had been left behind for this very moment. He followed, the whispers to a hidden corridor he had not noticed before. The walls pulsed faintly with light, guiding him deeper. At the end of the corridor, he found a small lab, cluttered with alien tools and devices. On a pedestal lay a crystal, clear and glowing softly. As he touched it, a wave of images flooded his mind. He saw his granddad working tirelessly, building defenses, creating life support systems, and protecting something important, something Milo had yet to fully understand. Milo sat down, taking it all in. The base was more than a home or a laboratory. It was a legacy, a puzzle, a place where the past and future connected. The whispers, the shadows, the holograms, they were all part of a grand design. Milo realized that the rumors of hauntings were only half true. The base was alive, yes, but it was alive to teach, to guide, and to protect those who could carry on the work left behind. He stayed in the lab until lunar night fell, the faint glow of the moon outside casting silver light across the room. The hum of the bass became a lullaby, gentle and steady. Milo closed his eyes, thinking of what he had seen, the technology, the creatures, the holograms. He felt a mix of awe and determination. He would learn everything his granddad had left behind. He would not just survive, he would thrive. For the first time since arriving, Milo felt at peace. The base was haunted, yes, but it was not dangerous. It was alive with knowledge, history, and guidance, and Milo was ready to become part of that legacy. The morning light crept across the moon's surface, filling the base with a soft, silver glow. Milo awoke in his small sleeping area, feeling more confident than ever. The whispers and hums of the base had become familiar companions. He stretched and prepared himself for another day of discovery. Today, he thought, he would learn more about his granddad's work and maybe understand the purpose of the strange orb. Milo began in the central control room. The holographic map of the moon glimmered gently, showing the base, surrounding craters and strange energy readings he did not yet understand. The orb floated in the corner, pulsating with soft light. Milo walked toward it carefully, unsure if it would respond. The moment he reached out, the orb brightened and projected images in the air. He saw his granddad moving among machines, touching controls, and writing in an alien language. Milo focused on one part of the projection. It showed a device that controlled energy flows, a circular machine with glowing conduits. His granddad adjusted settings and the energy patterns shifted, forming a protective field around the base. Milo realized that the hauntings were part of the same system, mechanisms designed to protect the base and its secrets. Determined to learn, Milo began experimenting with the controls. He followed instructions as best as he could, touching panels and adjusting dials. Slowly, the energy readings on the holographic map began to respond. Lights blinked in patterns, and a faint hum filled the room, almost like a heartbeat. Milo smiled. He was learning. The base was alive, yes, but it was alive to teach, not harm. Hours passed as he explored more of the base. Milo discovered a greenhouse chamber where alien plants grew under artificial light. Some looked familiar like plants on Earth, but others were entirely foreign, with translucent leaves that glowed faintly. He carefully examined the controls and learned how to maintain the ecosystem. Water circulated through the plants, nutrients flowed automatically, and the orb occasionally pulsed, confirming he was doing things correctly. Milo realized the base could support life for a long time if he understood its systems. In another room, Milo found strange machines that looked like robots or helpers. They were small, metallic, and covered in symbols. At first, they remained still as he approached, but when he touched a control panel, the machines activated. They moved carefully, observing him. One extended a mechanical arm toward him, offering a small tool. Milo laughed softly. It was as if the base was teaching him through these machines, giving him guidance when he needed it. Milo spent days learning from the orb and the holograms. Each session revealed more of his granddad's work: energy shields, automated defenses, and systems to monitor the moon's surface. Milo realized that his granddad had been preparing for dangers long before Milo arrived. The base was not haunted by angry spirits. It was a school, a mentor, and a protector all at once. One evening, while reviewing data crystals in the lab, Milo noticed a pattern. Some of the symbols in the holograms matched symbols on the walls of the corridors. He traced the paths, and a hidden door slid open, revealing a secret chamber. Inside, the walls were lined with glowing panels, and in the center was a device that pulsed like a heart. The orb floated above it, and Milo instinctively reached out. Images filled his mind again. His granddad was there, working tirelessly, adjusting the device. Milo could feel the purpose behind it. The device was designed to protect the moon base from external threats, meteor showers, rogue spacecraft, and even energy storms. His granddad had combined alien technology with human knowledge to create something incredible. Milo felt awe and pride. He was not just inheriting a building. He was inheriting a legacy of protection, innovation, and courage. The orb pulsed brighter, and Milo realized it was communicating with him. He concentrated, and a soft voice, almost like a memory of his granddad, spoke in his mind. "Learn well, Milo. Protect what is ours. The moon depends on you." Milo's heart raced. He had never felt such a clear connection before. The base was alive, yes, but it was also alive with purpose, and that purpose was now his. Days turned into weeks as Milo practiced controlling the systems. He learned to adjust energy flows, stabilize the shield, and operate the defense mechanisms. Sometimes, the holograms of his granddad appeared, guiding him, showing him how to use machines or adjust settings. Milo began to understand the alien language, recognizing patterns and symbols. The base was teaching him at its own pace, and he was absorbing knowledge faster than he had ever imagined. One night, Milo ventured into the observation deck. The moon stretched below him, cratered and silent, while Earth hung in the sky like a small blue jewel. He thought of all the stories he had heard about humans and aliens, about adventures and dangers. Milo realized that his granddad had prepared him for more than just survival. He had prepared him to lead, to learn, and to protect knowledge that could change lives. As he turned back to the control room, Milo noticed the shadows moving differently than before. They were no longer frightening or confusing. They guided him, showing paths to hidden rooms, highlighting important panels, and sometimes even hovering near machines as if to suggest adjustments. Milo smiled. The hauntings had become friends, allies in his learning. The base was alive, yes, but alive with care, not fear. By the end of the week, Milo could control most of the base systems. He had learned to grow food, maintain life support, manage energy, and communicate with the orb. He had discovered hidden chambers, interacted with alien machines, and even begun repairing some that had been dormant for years. Milo felt a sense of accomplishment he had never known. The moon base was no longer a haunted place of fear. It was a place of learning, of legacy, and of hope. Before resting, Milo sat in the central control room, watching the holographic map of the moon. He thought of his granddad, the alien legacy, and the future he could create. The base hummed around him, the orb pulsing gently, almost like it was smiling. Milo realized that he had not only survived the first week, he had begun to thrive. The warnings of others now seemed silly. This base was not meant to drive him away. It was meant to guide him, and he was ready. Milo closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the hum of the base through the floor beneath him. He felt a connection to the past, to his granddad, and to the moon itself. The journey had only just begun, but Milo knew one thing clearly. He was ready to continue learning, exploring, and protecting the incredible legacy left in his care. Milo had grown comfortable in the moon base. The hum of machinery and the gentle glow of the alien symbols no longer frightened him. Instead, they gave him a sense of purpose. Each day brought new lessons as he explored deeper chambers, learned more from the orb, and pieced together the genius of his granddad. He felt capable of handling almost anything the base could throw at him. That morning, however, the base's energy sensors detected an unusual movement on the lunar surface. Milo was reviewing energy flows when a warning beep sounded. The holographic map flickered, highlighting a small object moving rapidly toward the base. Milo squinted. It was a spacecraft, a rogue ship, not part of any official settlement or trading route. His pulse quickened. The base's protective systems had never been tested by an external threat before. Milo quickly moved to the central control panels, activating energy shields and preparing automated defenses. The orb floated closer, pulsating rapidly, as if urging him to stay calm and think carefully. Milo took a deep breath. He was ready. The spacecraft landed roughly on the lunar surface. Dust and debris flew into the air as the landing legs made contact. A hatch opened, and Milo could see the silhouettes of several figures moving cautiously. They were scavengers, likely after alien technology. Milo remembered the warnings his parents and friends had given. Many had tried to claim his granddad's inventions, and none had succeeded. Milo felt a surge of determination. He would not fail. He activated the base's holographic projectors. Suddenly, ghostly images of strange figures appeared in the corridors, flickering and moving as if alive. The base seemed to recognize Milo's intent and joined in defending him. The intruders paused, their eyes wide as illusions surrounded them. Holographic sounds of footsteps echoed through the halls. Milo's heart pounded, but he remained focused, watching as the scavengers hesitated. One of them, bolder than the others, advanced toward the base entrance. Milo triggered a sequence on the control panel, and the lights shifted into a blinding pattern. Panels glowed with alien energy, and mechanical arms extended from hidden compartments, blocking the doorway. The scavenger stumbled back, eyes wide, with fear. Milo realized the base was not just haunted, it was defending him. The intruders tried to regroup, but every attempt to enter the base was met with illusions and automated defenses. Holographic figures darted across corridors, lights flashed, and strange noises echoed from the walls. Milo remained calm, observing every movement. He had learned from the orb, from the holograms of his granddad, and from his own experience. He knew that fear was the first tool of the base's protection, and he used it wisely. As the scavengers retreated, Milo noticed that they had dropped a small device near the entrance. Curious, he approached it carefully. It was a scanner used to detect alien technology. He studied it, understanding immediately that this was only a part of a larger threat. Others might come, more prepared, more determined. Milo felt a shiver of worry, but also a surge of resolve. The base had chosen him as its guardian, and he would not let anyone take its secrets. After the intruders left, Milo walked through the corridors, checking the systems. The base hummed steadily, the lights glowing softly, as if acknowledging his success. The orb floated nearby, pulsating gently, almost as if congratulating him. Milo smiled. The base had not just protected him, it had taught him. He had learned to work with it, to trust its responses, and to use its defenses intelligently. Milo spent the rest of the day reinforcing the base's protective measures. He studied the defense logs, adjusting energy flows and repairing any systems that had been triggered during the intruder's attack. The base was alive, yes, but it responded to Milo's intent. It could protect, teach, and even guide him if he remained focused. That evening, Milo ventured to the observation deck. The moon stretched silent and barren, but now he felt a sense of accomplishment. The base was not just a building filled with strange machines. It was a living legacy designed to endure threats and prepare its guardian. Milo realized that he had faced his first real test. He had survived. He had learned. And he had done it by working with the base, not against it. While watching the stars, Milo reflected on what his granddad had created. The base was more than a shelter or a laboratory. It was a fortress, a school, and a beacon of knowledge. The intruders had tried to take what was not theirs, but the base had responded perfectly. Milo understood that the legacy left to him was not only about technology, but also about courage, wisdom, and responsibility. Suddenly, the orb pulsed brightly, projecting a hologram in front of him. The image showed his granddad moving through corridors, adjusting machines, and watching over the moon's surface. A voice, soft and clear, filled Milo's mind. "The base protects those who respect it, Milo. Remember this lesson. Not all threats can be seen, and not all dangers are external. Trust your mind, your heart, and the base will guide you." Milo nodded, feeling a wave of understanding. The base had guided him through his first encounter with outsiders. It had taught him the importance of observation, patience, and courage. He felt a new sense of confidence. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he knew he was not alone. The base, the orb, and the lessons of his granddad would remain with him. As the moon's long night began, Milo returned to his sleeping area. He reviewed the events of the day, thinking carefully about what had worked and what could be improved. He realized that survival was not just about strength or skill, it was about understanding, learning, and adapting. The base had shown him the first part of this truth, and he was eager to continue learning. Before closing his eyes, Milo looked once more at the central control room. Lights blinked softly, machines hummed, and the orb floated steadily in the corner. He smiled, feeling a sense of pride. He had faced intruders, defended the base, and proven to himself that he could handle its mysteries. The moon base was no longer a haunted place of fear. It was a place of guidance, learning, and protection. Milo lay down, listening to the gentle hum of the base. The stars shone above, and the moon's surface stretched endlessly around him. He was ready for whatever challenges would come next, knowing that he had the intelligence, courage, and guidance to face them. The first visitors had tested him, and he had passed. The legacy of his granddad was in good hands. As Milo drifted into sleep, the orb pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat, and a whisper filled the room. "Well done, Milo. You are learning. You are ready for more." Milo smiled in his sleep, feeling a deep sense of purpose. The moon base had taught him its first lesson. Protection comes not just from walls and machines, but from courage, wisdom, and respect for the legacy that had been entrusted to him. Milo woke to the faint hum of the moon base, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. The events of the past week had taught him that the base was more than a building. It was a living legacy, designed to guide, protect, and educate. Today, he would focus on something he had only glimpsed before: the energy shield his granddad had built. The orb floated nearby, pulsing with soft light, as if encouraging him. Milo smiled. It was time to learn. He made his way to the central control room, where panels flickered with alien symbols. Milo studied the holographic map of the moon, noting energy flows and defense systems. At the center of the room was a circular device, its surface covered in glowing conduits. The orb hovered above it, projecting streams of information in symbols Milo had begun to understand. He reached out, following the orb's guidance, and touched a panel. Lights blinked, and energy hummed through the base. Milo's first task was to stabilize the shield. The holographic map showed energy leaking at certain points, weak spots that could be dangerous if not fixed. Using instructions from the orb and holographic recordings of his granddad, Milo adjusted the flow of energy, redirecting power through conduits and recalibrating control panels. Slowly, the readings stabilized. The shield was beginning to form, a protective dome around the base, shimmering faintly against the lunar surface. Hours passed as Milo worked tirelessly, experimenting with different settings and learning the intricacies of alien technology. The base responded to his actions, lights brightening when he succeeded, pulsing softly when he needed to adjust. He realized that the shield was not just a wall of energy, it was intelligent, sensing danger, adapting to threats, and learning from its guardian. Milo felt awe. His granddad had created something extraordinary, and now he was learning to use it. While working, Milo noticed movement in one of the side corridors. Small creatures, part of his granddad's experiments, emerged from the shadows. They were, unlike anything Milo had seen before, luminous bodies, delicate limbs, and curious eyes that seemed to understand him. At first he tensed, unsure if they were dangerous. But as he extended a hand, the creatures approached cautiously, then hovered near his workspace. Milo realized they were here to help, to assist in operating the shield and maintaining the base. The creatures began interacting with panels and conduits, their touch precise and careful. Milo watched, fascinated, as they adjusted minor settings, enhancing the shield's efficiency. He laughed softly. The base was alive in more ways than one. It had defenses, machines, and now allies in these creatures. Together, they could maintain the base and protect it from almost anything. Days turned into weeks as Milo practiced controlling the shield. He learned to expand it, strengthen it, and focus energy toward weak points. The orb continued to guide him, projecting holographic instructions and images of his granddad demonstrating advanced techniques. Milo realized that the shield could protect not only the base, but also the surrounding area, including small lunar settlements nearby. The responsibility was immense, but Milo felt ready. One evening, while monitoring energy levels, Milo noticed an unusual reading on the holographic map. A surge of cosmic energy was approaching, a storm of particles from a distant solar flare. If it struck the base unprotected, the damage could be severe. Milo felt a surge of determination. This was the ultimate test of his skills. He adjusted the shield, directing extra energy toward the vulnerable areas, and watched as the shield expanded, forming a glowing dome that pulsed with power. The storm hit the moon's surface with a violent flash, sending bursts of light across the horizon. Milo could see small sparks against the shield, but the dome held strong. He worked quickly, recalibrating conduits, monitoring energy flows, and guiding the creatures as they assisted him. The orb pulsed brightly, projecting encouragement and guidance. Milo felt a rush of pride. He had learned to work with the base, to understand its systems, and now he was protecting it from danger. As the storm passed, Milo stepped outside the observation deck, looking at the glowing shield surrounding the base. It shimmered softly under the moon's dim sunlight, a protective barrier alive with energy and intelligence. The creatures floated nearby, silent companions in the quiet aftermath. Milo felt a deep connection to his granddad, the base, and the moon itself. The legacy was more than machines. It was courage, responsibility, and the ability to protect what mattered. The next day, Milo focused on improving the shield further. He experimented with energy patterns, learning to redirect power efficiently, and create temporary expansions to cover different areas. He tested the limits of the shield, ensuring it could withstand unexpected threats. Each success made him more confident, and each failure taught him patience. The base had become a teacher, the orb a guide, and the creature's loyal assistants. Together, they formed a system of protection unlike anything Milo had ever imagined. While working, Milo discovered a hidden chamber connected to the shield's core. Inside were crystals, conduits, and intricate machinery that pulsed with alien energy. The orb guided him carefully, showing him how to integrate the crystals into the shield, enhancing its strength and responsiveness. Milo followed each instruction with precision. As he completed the final adjustment, the shield expanded slightly, stabilizing at a higher energy level. The orb pulsed with approval, and Milo felt a surge of accomplishment. That night, Milo rested, in his sleeping area, listening to the hum of the base and the gentle pulses of the shield. He reflected on all he had learned: control, observation, adaptation, and responsibility. The base had trusted him, and he had risen to the challenge. The moon, silent and barren, now felt safer, protected by a shield of energy and a guardian who had learned to respect and understand the alien technology left in his care. Before sleep, Milo visited the observation deck one last time. He looked at the shield glowing softly around the base, the small creatures hovering nearby, and the moon stretching endlessly beyond. He realized that he had not only survived but thrived. The shield was more than protection. It was a symbol of his granddad's genius, his own growth, and the bond between past and future. Milo felt a deep sense of purpose. The orb pulsed beside him, almost like a heartbeat, and a soft voice filled his mind. "Well done, Milo. You have learned. You have protected. Continue to grow, and greater challenges will come." Milo smiled. He knew the journey was far from over, but he also knew he was ready. The shield was just the beginning of his responsibilities, and he welcomed the lessons yet to come. As he lay down to sleep, Milo felt a quiet pride and determination. The moon base was no longer a mysterious, haunted place. It was alive with purpose, energy, and intelligence. Milo was its guardian, protector, and student. Together they had built something incredible, a shield not only of energy but of knowledge, courage, and hope. Milo woke to an unusual glow outside the base windows. The lunar surface shimmered under a strange light, unlike anything he had seen before. Checking the central control panels, he saw it clearly on the holographic map. A cosmic storm was approaching, carrying high levels of energy and particle radiation. The readings were intense. If the storm hit without the base's shield fully optimized, the damage could be catastrophic. Milo felt a surge of determination. He had prepared for challenges, and this would be his greatest test yet. The orb floated close, pulsing with urgency. Milo took a deep breath and activated the shield controls. The holographic map displayed, energy conduits spreading across the base, highlighting weak points. He adjusted flows, redirecting power to critical areas. The orb projected images of his granddad, demonstrating advanced techniques for managing energy surges. Milo followed the steps carefully, feeling the hum of the base respond to his actions. It was alive, alert, and guiding him. Outside, dust from the lunar surface began to swirl as the storm approached. Milo could see the faint trail of energy in the distance, bright arcs streaking across the sky. He monitored the shield, noting fluctuations in energy levels. The orb pulsed faster, as if signaling danger. Milo adjusted panels, focusing power on the shield's perimeter. Sparks flew on some conduits, but he stayed calm, remembering the lessons of patience and observation. The base had survived before, and so could he. Hours passed as Milo worked, tirelessly. He communicated silently with the orb, sharing adjustments and receiving guidance. The small creatures that lived in the base hovered nearby, assisting by operating minor controls and monitoring sensors. Together, they formed a system of coordination that was precise and efficient. Milo marveled at how his granddad had designed this living, intelligent defense network. The base was more than technology. It was a partner, a teacher, and now a battle-tested guardian. The storm hit the lunar surface with violent force. Bright arcs of energy danced across the horizon, and debris swirled in the thin lunar atmosphere. Milo could see sparks flickering on the shield, but it held firm. Energy readings fluctuated wildly, and Milo adjusted conduits, rerouting power to reinforce weak areas. The base hummed, responding to his commands. Milo felt a surge of confidence. He was no longer just learning, he was leading. He was part of the base, and together they would endure. Suddenly, the storm's energy surge reached the base's outer perimeter. A blast of particles hit the shield, causing a ripple that shook the floor slightly. Milo reacted quickly, activating emergency protocols. Panels shifted, energy redirected, and the shield absorbed the impact. He could hear the faint hum of the base rising in intensity, as if it was alive and working harder to protect him. Milo's heart pounded, but he remained focused. Each adjustment he made kept the shield stable, and each pulse of energy reassured him that he was succeeding. The storm raged for hours, testing every system Milo had mastered. He monitored energy flows, repaired minor failures, and guided the creatures assisting him. The orb floated nearby, pulsing brightly, projecting holographic images that reminded Milo of the techniques his granddad had used. The lessons of the past weeks were now being applied in real time. Milo realized that his granddad had trusted him to manage situations like this, to make decisions under pressure, and to protect the legacy he had inherited. By the time the storm began to pass, Milo was exhausted but exhilarated. The shield remained intact, shimmering faintly over the lunar base. The energy readings stabilized, and the creatures floated near him, calm and watchful. Milo took a deep breath, feeling pride in what he had accomplished. He had faced the most dangerous challenge yet, and had succeeded, working in harmony with the base. After the storm, Milo explored the outer corridors to check for damage. Dust had settled, and some panels had minor sparks, but overall the base had withstood the storm. The orb pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat, signaling that all systems were functioning normally. Milo smiled. He had learned to trust the base, the lessons, and himself. The experience had strengthened his confidence and deepened his connection with the legacy he now protected. Milo returned to the control room and reviewed the energy logs. The shield had absorbed immense power, more than he had imagined possible. He studied the data carefully, noting which systems had been most stressed and how the base had adapted. The orb projected suggestions for improvements, and Milo worked to reinforce conduits, adjust energy flows, and enhance the shield's responsiveness. He felt a sense of achievement. The base was no longer just a structure, it was a living system, and he had proven capable of managing it under extreme conditions, Lunar night fell. Milo sat in the observation deck looking at the moon's surface stretched beneath the shield. The aftermath of the storm glowed faintly in the distance. Milo felt awe at the resilience of the base and gratitude for the guidance it had provided. The orb floated nearby, pulsating gently, a reminder that he was not alone. He realized that the greatest lesson of the storm was not just about strength, it was about cooperation, observation, and trust. The base had taught him to act wisely under pressure, and he had succeeded. Milo reflected on what he had learned. His granddad had designed the base not only to survive storms, but to teach its guardian how to think, adapt, and lead. The orb, the creatures, and the shield were all parts of a system that relied on intelligence, patience, and courage. Milo understood that he had grown in ways he had never imagined. The moon base had transformed from a mysterious, haunted place into a living mentor, preparing him for challenges both seen and unseen. Before sleeping, Milo visited the chamber where the shield's core was located. He placed his hand on the central device and felt a hum of energy flow through him. The orb floated beside him, pulsating rhythmically. Milo smiled, feeling a sense of connection to his granddad, the base, and the moon itself. The storm had tested him, and he had passed. The base, alive with technology, guidance, and legacy, had trusted him, and he had risen to the occasion. Lying down in his small sleeping area, Milo listened to the hum of the base. The shield pulsed softly, a gentle reminder of the storm they had survived together. He felt calm and ready, knowing that greater challenges would come, but also that he was prepared. The moon base was no longer just a home or a laboratory. It was a living legacy, and Milo was its guardian, protector, and student. Together, they had endured the cosmic storm and proved the strength of human courage guided by alien wisdom. Milo woke to the soft glow of the moon's surface through the base windows. After surviving the cosmic storm and mastering the shield, he felt stronger and more confident than ever. The orb floated beside him, pulsating gently, a quiet reminder that the base was alive, watching and guiding him. Milo stretched and moved to the central control room. Today felt different. The base seemed to hum with anticipation. He sensed that a new challenge awaited, one that would test all he had learned. As he monitored the holographic map, Milo noticed unusual energy readings near the base's perimeter. Small anomalies flickered like sparks, moving across the lunar surface. Milo focused, analyzing the data. It was not a storm or natural phenomenon. Something, or someone, was approaching. The shield was active, but this time the threat seemed intelligent. Milo's pulse quickened, but he did not panic. He had learned patience, observation, and strategy. He was ready. The orb pulsed rapidly, projecting holographic images of his granddad adjusting defenses in similar situations. Milo followed the instructions, calibrating the shield, redirecting power, and preparing automated defenses. The small creatures hovered nearby, ready to assist. Milo realized that his granddad had designed the base not just to survive natural disasters, but to face intelligent threats as well. This was the final test of Milo's skills as the base's guardian. Outside, a group of unfamiliar spacecraft appeared, moving cautiously across the moon's surface. Milo could see the pilots watching, calculating their approach. The base responded immediately, sending holographic images into corridors to confuse and disorient the intruders. Lights flickered, sounds echoed, and mechanical arms emerged from hidden compartments. Milo remained calm, observing the ships and adjusting defenses in real time. He felt the thrill of control, the satisfaction of using knowledge and skill to protect the legacy entrusted to him. The intruders tried to approach, but the shield pulsed with power, forming a barrier that blocked their movement. Sparks danced along the edges as the ships tested its strength. Milo monitored energy levels, redirecting power to vulnerable points and enhancing stability. The orb pulsed beside him, almost like a heartbeat, projecting encouragement. Milo felt a deep connection to his granddad, the base, and the moon itself. This was no longer about survival. It was about mastery, responsibility, and courage. Hours passed as Milo maintained the shield and guided defenses. The intruders attempted to breach the perimeter, but each attempt was met with holographic illusions, redirected energy flows, and automated mechanical responses. Milo's heart raced, but he stayed focused, remembering the lessons from the cosmic storm. Patience, observation, and adaptation were key. The base was alive, intelligent, and responsive, but it required Milo's guidance. Together, they were unstoppable. At one point, a spacecraft broke formation, trying to find a weak point in the shield. Milo acted quickly, rerouting energy to the area and activating a holographic decoy to mislead it. The ship faltered, unable to predict the base's defenses. Milo felt a surge of pride. He was no longer just learning. He was leading, protecting, and mastering the legacy left to him. The base, alive with energy, knowledge, and creatures, responded to his commands perfectly. The intruders eventually retreated, recognizing the futility of their attack. Milo allowed the shield to relax slightly, but kept energy flowing, ready for any new threats. He stepped outside to the observation deck, watching the lunar surface and the departing spacecraft. The moon was quiet once more, bathed in silver light. Milo felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The base had trusted him, and he had risen to the challenge. He was no longer just an inheritor, he was a guardian. Milo spent the following days reinforcing defenses, repairing minor damage, and improving the base's systems. He integrated additional energy conduits, expanded the shield's perimeter, and trained the small creatures to assist more efficiently. Each adjustment strengthened the base and deepened his connection to its legacy. Milo realized that his granddad had prepared him for leadership, responsibility, and innovation. The moon base was a living testament to intelligence, patience, and courage. During one quiet moment, Milo visited the holographic archive. He watched recordings of his granddad, not only operating the base, but interacting with the creatures, maintaining the shield, and preparing for threats. Milo understood now that the true purpose of the base was not simply survival, but the training of a capable guardian. The lessons were clear. Knowledge must be respected, responsibility must be earned, and courage must be exercised wisely. Milo felt gratitude and determination. He would honor this legacy. As the lunar night approached, Milo walked to the observation deck. The moon stretched endlessly, silver and silent, while the base glowed softly beneath him. The shield pulsed gently. The creatures hovered nearby, and the orb floated beside him. Milo felt a profound sense of purpose. He had faced storms, intruders, and the unknown. He had mastered the shield, learned the secrets of the base, and protected the legacy of his granddad. The moon base was no longer a mysterious, haunted place. It was alive with guidance, intelligence, and trust, and he was its guardian. Milo reflected on his journey. He remembered the first day he arrived, unsure and alone, surrounded by whispers and shadows. Now he understood that the hauntings had been guidance, the orb had been a teacher, and the creatures had been allies. He had learned patience, observation, strategy, and courage. The moon base had transformed him, preparing him to be a protector, leader, and steward of knowledge. Milo smiled, feeling the weight and honor of his responsibility. Before resting, Milo visited the shield's core chamber one last time for the night. He placed his hands on the glowing conduits, feeling the hum of energy flow through him. The orb floated beside him, pulsating softly as if confirming his mastery. Milo realized that the base, the shield, the creatures, and the orb were all parts of a living system, one that trusted him and relied on his guidance. He had proven himself worthy. He was ready for any future challenge. As Milo lay down in his sleeping area, he listened to the soft hum of the base and the gentle pulses of the shield. The moon outside was silent and calm, a testament to his vigilance and the base's power. Milo felt pride, gratitude, and purpose. He had survived, learned, and mastered the legacy his granddad had left him. He was no longer just a visitor or student. He was the guardian of an incredible living inheritance. The orb pulsed one last time as Milo drifted into sleep, projecting a soft glow that filled the room with warmth. A gentle voice whispered in his mind, "Milo, you have learned, you have protected, you are ready. The legacy is in your hands." Milo smiled, closing his eyes with a sense of peace and accomplishment. The moon base had tested him, taught him, and trusted him, and he had risen to the challenge. Milo's journey had begun with uncertainty, but it had ended with mastery, courage, and purpose. The moon base, once a haunted and mysterious place, was now a home, a mentor, and a testament to human and alien ingenuity. Milo was ready to continue exploring, learning, and protecting the legacy, knowing that he was not just surviving, he was thriving. The moon hummed softly, the shield pulsed gently, and the orb floated quietly beside him. Milo, the guardian of the legacy, had fulfilled the trust of the past and prepared for the future. The base was alive, and so was the promise of knowledge, courage, and human potential. Milo had arrived. He was home.